Hey, I want to say, people I talk to, I talk to a lot of people on social media, and a lot of people think that, you know, the world, how cruel it is, that people are just going to be mean, that you can't change it, that there's no better way, that humans have always been this way, human history, and that because of human history, that we can't somehow be nice and happy to each other. I'm gonna tell you, I think that's wrong. I think we can. I think psychology has shown us, from psychology studies, that there are parts of the brain that can be trained to change the things we need to change to make the world a better place. Just because something hasn't happened before doesn't mean it won't happen. Millions of years ago, we couldn't talk. We didn't have the language we have today. We couldn't read. People back then were like, we'll never be able to read, never be able to talk, whatever, apes or whatever kind of organism we were back a million years ago or 10,000 years ago. And what about things like calculus, about science, about, rocket ships? People were like, never gonna happen. How's that gonna happen? People 1,000 years ago were like, not gonna happen. The average person was like, nah, we're just gonna live, building pyramids for forever. Not gonna change. But it did change. And we did learn calculus. We didn't know, just because we didn't know calculus before, doesn't mean we can't learn it. The same thing with how to be happy and how to be empathetic to everyone and how to be rational. There's a lot of, hate to people with different color, and there's a lot of, and people are like, feel kind of stifled by all the big governments, big corporations, and kind of the disconnection of feeling how cold the world seems with all the totalitarian governments still exist. With in the U.S. you have people feel like, I have to just scrape by these days, and I don't need to be nice, and I can just, and people are just going to be mean and honk horns at me when I'm driving. And if you're not from the U.S., U.S. people tend to honk horns. Not as bad as some places, but they're not very nice. When you go out, talk to people, people are pretty grumpy when you go out in the U.S. And some people will talk, some people are nice, but for the most part, people are kind of like, think this is life and there's no better way. That you have to go to a job you don't like, that you have to feel bad, that we can't all feel apart and like each other. People think, there's bad people out there, I can't do anything about it. I'll just live my life the best I can, and I don't care about anyone else. That's a better way to think about it. We should care about everyone else, because we're all stuck on the same planet together. Now, if we're all stuck on the same planet together, we need to act like we're on one big boat. We need to act like we're on one big boat, that we're stuck together. And then when you're on a ship, you kind of have to learn to get along with people on your ship. And the Earth is one big ship, and we're going to have to learn to get along. And I think there is of course there's a better way. Humans can learn to be more empathetic. Humans can learn to be more rational. Maybe we are now, but we've learned everything before. Why can't we learn new things? We can learn how to make world peace. We can. It's in the brain. The reason we don't have world peace is because of human decisions. If we can make human decisions better, we can make empathy better, rational decision making better, then obviously we can create something a lot closer to world peace than we have today in the world. Now, I think in the future that it will happen. If we have some good scientists and we have a good movement of ideas and people, I believe it will happen. That we'll come to a way, either by some sort of education, by some sort of technique. Go back to calculus. That was a technique that wasn't heard of before. And what about Einstein's physics equations? His theories. Those were never heard of before. But someone learned it. Someone figured it out, and now other people can learn it. Even if they didn't create it, they can learn the technique to throw rockets into space. Same thing with the mind. We can learn how to be better people. We can learn how to be rational. We can learn how to be empathetic. We can learn how to love, how to have a lot of feeling, and use that feeling in a kind way, and be mindful of everyone on this earth. And I mean, if you could train people to be mindful, to be caring, to be empathetic, how would we have war? If you have people who care about their neighbor and think we're all in the same ship, and put themselves in someone else's shoes, how could you shoot a gun at someone when you could imagine them in your shoes? It'd be very hard, and there might be a few, psychopaths or whatever where, any kind of training or education wouldn't work on. But for most people, the average person and the worldwide population, you could, and we can make the world great, and I think we will, and I think I'm going to try to do my best to start the movement, but I believe that it's going to happen. And maybe it won't. Maybe we'll die out before world peace, or relative world peace, a greater state of world peace than we have today, is achieved. We might die out, but we also might not. We might make it in time where the right techniques are learned, where we can have world peace, where people can get along, people understand each other, and people are mindful of each other. Just because people don't have the technique now, because it hasn't been taught in school how to be mindful, how to be rational, how to be empathetic. That hasn't been taught in schools. So you can't really expect people to know how to do those things and to live in this world if they haven't been taught it. Sure, they've been taught reading, math, basic skills, but they have not been taught how to like and love to fellow human beings. They don't teach that in school. They don't. And eventually we'll get to the point where maybe they do, with certain techniques, and then eventually we will get to world peace. I might go into more details on other videos of specific psychological techniques, specific psychological education, education plans that will stimulate the brain in the way that can make the humans we want and the world we want. But for now, good luck, and I'm pretty hopeful for the future. Thanks.